evening. We're going to call this meeting to order. Is everyone's mics on? Yes. Okay, we're going to wait a minute until the rest of our public safety has a chance to come in. Come on. Okay, I'll now call to order the August 22nd Daytona Beach Shores City Commission meeting. Sherry, can you take a roll, please?
Mayor Miller?
Here.
Vice Mayor Politis?
Here.
Commissioner Bryan?
Here.
Commissioner Campos?
Here.
Commissioner Lindauer?
Here.
Thank you. Okay, Reverend Bob. And this is our Reverend Bob from the Drive-In Christian Church, a wonderful partner to our city.
Glad to share this time with you this evening. I invite you to stand as you're able and join me in this invocation. Gracious Creator, as we come together this evening, we are thankful for this body of folks who have come together to conduct the business of the city of Daytona Beach Shores. We are thankful for each servant of this city and the gifts and the graces you have given them to serve effectively and with great honor. We thank you that your presence is with us, guiding us with your wisdom and your power and strength. Tonight we are especially mindful of people across this great land that are suffering, especially at the hand of the wildfires in Maui and the storms in Southern California. We know the devastation that storms can wreak on a person's life, and our hearts are with them as well as those who have lived through and are just now realizing the devastation of the fires. We ask your presence to be with them, and not only our hearts, but our care and our compassion be shown to these who have suffered so much. Help us to come into this time of meeting this evening with clear minds and with hearts that are willing to serve. We ask these things in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, tonight we have a very special evening. We're very sad to see him go, so Sergeant Ricky Rademacher is retiring. Sergeant, do I understand Tuesday is your last day?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you sure we can't talk you out of that? Okay, well, if you want to come forward, I have a proclamation to read to you. And it's so nice to see all of your fellow officers here. It shows how well liked you are and loved by them. So whereas Sergeant Ricky Rademacher began his employment as a part-time public safety officer in January of 2009 and became full-time in October 2009 for the city of Daytona Beach Shores. And whereas Sergeant Ricky Rademacher was appointed as acting sergeant in April 2012 for the city of Daytona Beach Shores. And whereas Sergeant Rademacher was promoted to sergeant in April 2017. Whereas Sergeant Rademacher has been commended by the Director of Public Safety of the City of Daytona Beach Shores for his consistent teamwork and efforts. Sergeant Rademacher has participated in saving many lives in Daytona Beach Shores. The sergeant has been certified as a traffic homicide reconstructionist, an agency breath test inspector, and a field training officer. And whereas Sergeant Rademacher has been the department's vehicle and equipment assignment coordinator, and whereas Sergeant Ricky Rademacher has been a mentor to many young officers joining the Public Safety Department of the City of Daytona Beach Shores. And whereas Sergeant Ricky Rademacher has provided distinguished service for 15 plus years to the City of Daytona Beach citizens, And whereas Sergeant Redemaker has been instrumental in the success of the City of Daytona Beach Public Safety Department, and Sergeant Redemaker has chosen to retire from the City of Daytona Beach Shores. Now therefore, let it be proclaimed by the City of Daytona Beach Shores that this commission, on behalf of the people and citizens of Daytona Beach Shores, do hereby declare August 22nd, 2023 to be Sergeant Ricky Redemaker Day.
This is a surprise. You know, you've all heard the speech by Lou Gehrig that feel like I'm the luckiest person on the face of the earth. 15 years ago, I became that person. I sat across from Stefan Dembinski, and he said, "You're going to love it here. You're going to retire here. I know you will." And he was right. I have loved it here. I'm honored to have served, but I think it's time to go. And the best job in the world and the best place in the world has been the best gift to me. You're in good hands, Madam Mayor, Commissioners, and I hope I've made a difference here.
Certainly have.
And I'll be looking at the future. So thank you all. Thank you, my friends.
One more.
New camera, new camera. There we go. All right, thank you.
Madam Mayor.
Can you give him some words to
Yeah,
say?
Madam Mayor, I just want to say, what a beautiful turnout. So nice for his friends and family to be here. Our citizens have come out specifically to see Ricky off. We will be doing a luncheon for Ricky next month when he gives us a date. He's got some great family things going on that he's going to be busy for the next few weeks, and he'll give us a date. We want all of you to be there. I just want to tell you, I'm going to be very brief because I'll talk more at his retirement luncheon. But while all of our citizens are asleep in one of the safest communities you could possibly live in, Ricky's the one who's chosen to work night shift. He's the one who's out there, you know, looking for the people who don't belong here, looking for the people who have bad intentions, and he's one of the main reasons that you all have been able to rest so peacefully at night. So, you know, the community owes him a debt of gratitude, which you've certainly shown tonight. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We will miss you, Sergeant. Okay, next we'll go on to the approval of the minutes, and we have two different sets of minutes that we'll approve. So first of all, I'm asking for approval of minutes for the budget workshop on July 25th, 2023. Do I hear approval for those minutes?
So move.
Thank you. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Sherry, can you take a roll on that, please?
Commissioner Lindauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Politis,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes, thank you. Okay, next, the City Commission minutes from July 25th, 2023. Do I hear a motion to accept those?
So move.
I'll second.
Thank you. Sherry, and if no other discussion, Sherry, can you take a roll, please?
Commissioner Lindauer,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Politis,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes, thank you. Okay, next on the consent agenda, we have 7 items. If I do not have to pull any of those, can I have a motion, please, to accept those items?
Also move.
I would like to pull one,
Okay, and which one would that be?
the ZEVCO contract.
Okay, All right, so will we have a discussion on that before we approve these?
I don't know, why are we getting involved in the new St. Kitts seawall?
This is a Zevco contract.
Okay. All right, and so, attorney, would this be time that we'd have a discussion on that since the commissioner asked for it to be
Yes.
pulled? Okay, go ahead, Commissioner.
Yeah, I'd like just to give Stuart an opportunity to explain the components of the $197,000. As well as what we've already spent with Zevco.
Good evening, Commissioners, Madam Mayor, Stuart Cruz, Community Service Director, for the record. So this is phase 2 of our recovery project for the beachside dune walkovers that we have. We have 13 public beach access here in Daytona Beach shores that were impacted by the storms of last year. This is phase 2. The first phase that was done was essentially a rapid assessment of the status of each of those particular locations, and also an environmental assessment which goes along with the permitting process for getting the recovery of those particular locations. Phase 1, I believe, was about maybe the contract that was approved by the city was approximately 90,000+, but we didn't utilize all of that. We actually only spent about 60,000+. And the reason why is because we didn't do the surveying that we thought we were going to do up front. The surveying has now been moved or relocated to phase 2. And if you look in the proposal before you tonight, you'll see that in there. That's perhaps the vast majority of the particular components of this project. What you'll notice is that number seems very, very high, and I was explaining to some folks earlier today, that's actually a placeholder for surveying services. We've actually found out from the DEP that we don't need to do the full-blown surveys, meaning boundary surveys of the property, mean high water mark demarcation on the surveys. Those things actually have been waived by the DEP. We actually just found that out recently. And so that number that you see, which I believe in this particular proposal, because we're also doing a seawall over at St. Kitts as well, will actually be about maybe 50% of that 60,000+ that you're seeing in there, of that total 197,000. So this is phase 2. This particular project or particular component of the overall recovery will produce what we call design to bid documents. So the engineers will work together along with the permitting expert that Zevco has subcontracted as part of this project to basically come up with design of dune walkovers for all of these locations. I believe 11 of them will actually be ADA. We've been advised by the city attorney's office that if we had an ADA ramp, we basically have to go back and put one back out there for ADA protection. And then 2 of them will be stairs. And at St. Kitts, as I mentioned earlier, we're looking into some sort of armoring there. We don't know if it's going to be a seawall or revetment or whatever have you, but all of that is part of this particular scope for this phase of the overall recovery that we have for public beach access here in Daytona Beach shores that were impacted by the storm. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to take those.
I had one question. Now, these projects, these 13, we will pay for, and then we will be reimbursed by FEMA at 75% and the state at 12.5%?
The finance director gave me a positive nod.
Yes, okay. Great, thank you. Commissioner, did you have another
Yeah, I
question?
have a couple of questions. The temporary walkovers, are we going to be using basically most of the materials in term of for the permanent walkovers? Or?
Whatever we can salvage, we'll salvage.
Okay. And then in the temporaries, I think they called for round posts, which are better when you get a lot of wave action. And for whatever reason, we didn't use them.
They weren't available at the time. That was my recollection.
So we are planning to use the round posts?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Did that take care of it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so can I have a motion now that we've had a discussion on item E to accept these?
I move we accept the consent agenda.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion on any of the items? Okay, hearing none. Sherry, can you do a roll, please, on that?
Commissioner Bryan?
Yes.
Commissioner Lindauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Economos?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Plius?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, thank you. Okay, and we do not have any old business today. Thank you, Stuart, for coming up to explain that. We don't have any old business today, so we're gonna go right on to new business. And this is a consideration to approve amended contract for our legal services for our city attorney. Attorney Vost, do you want me to read the background? Do you want to? Is that necessary?
It's your call.
Okay, all right, I'll go ahead and read it. So this was requested by Voice Law Firm, and the law firm was hired as our city attorney on June 1st, 2020, at a monthly retainer of $8,750 per month, and all exclusive, including litigation, and that retainer amount has not changed over since that time. Since 2020, inflation has been high, and the fee of $8,750 as of June 1st, 2020, adjusted inflation equals $10,355.04 as of June 1st, 2023. In order to partially adjust for inflation, it is proposed that the $8,750 monthly retainer remain as it is through fiscal year 2022 to 2023, but be increased to $9,500 beginning October 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2024. Then, beginning as of October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2024, the monthly rate would be increased to $10,200. Beginning on October 1st, 2024, and every year thereafter, the monthly rate shall be increased upon the Consumer Price Index, which is the CPI, as determined by using the inflation calculator and it's the Gov website. If the inflation calculator is no longer published by the federal government, then the city shall use such other comparable information to determine the CPI. If the CPI should be negative, I doubt if that's going to happen, but the monthly rate shall remain unchanged for that year. Otherwise, the agreement in whole remains unchanged. I just want to, and I'm not sure, I know certain members of our commission deal with Becky and Wade and their firm a lot, but they are always available for what other questions we have. They explain everything to us. I'm very happy with the service they've provided. Unfortunately, in the last couple months, we've taxed them a little bit more than they probably thought, and they've been right there. So I'd like to take a vote on this. I guess I can say at this point I'm in full agreement.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
there's an error in the, it says beginning October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2024. It should be 2025, is that correct? You're going backwards.
Oh, that is. That's a typo.
Yeah.
It's my fault.
Thank you. Good pickup.
Thank you.
Okay. All right,
So we'll amend that through September 30, 2025.
Okay. And I didn't catch it, I was reading. Thank you, Commissioner, for picking that up.
And the next one would be 2025
Right.
also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With those amendments that the Commissioner just called out, do I hear a motion to approve?
I so vote, I so move. Hello.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion on this? Any questions?
Like you, I've been very pleased. I think we're very fortunate to have the law firm that we presently do.
Okay, Sherry, can you take a roll call on this, please?
Commissioner Lindauer,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pledis,
Yes.
Commissioner Condos,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. We really appreciate you and all the hard work. And, you know, and there's quite a few times I call Becky on the weekend and always seem to reach her. So, thank you. Next, we'll go on to ordinance 2023-07. Can you read that for us, please, Attorney?
Yes, Madam Mayor, this is ordinance number 2023-07, an ordinance of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, Florida, relating to comprehensive planning, amending the City of Daytona Beach Shores Comprehensive Plan, amending Chapter 1, Future Land Use Element by amending Map L4 entitled Generalized Future Land Use Map 2030, assigning the residential low-intensity future land use designation to annex single-family residential property located at 3038 South Peninsula Drive, short parcel identification number 5334-02-02-0160, providing for implementing actions, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for non-codification, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. City Planner, I know we had this on our agenda and talked about it. Can you give us the steps on, first of all, we do this, then we do that, and then I see they're gonna be at the quasi judicial hearing, just so everyone understands why we're doing all of these steps.
Absolutely. Good evening, Noelle Eaton, City Planner. So as Becky mentioned, this ordinance, the next three, these four ordinances are related to the annexation of two properties that the City Commission recently annexed. So now we need to assign a land use classification and a zoning designation that is consistent to what they had in Volusia County, and now that they will have that's comparable to what we have in Daytona Beach Shores. So that's what these are. This is our first reading. There will be an adoption hearing at the next meeting as well. This is ordinance 2023-07. This is to assign the residential low-intensity land use to the property at 3038 South Peninsula Drive. Again, this is the Florida statute of why we're here. Basically that if we don't assign a city designation or classification, then it remains under the county land use and zoning. The property is owned by Charles and Patricia Register. It is in a trust, and it's approximately 0.496 acres. It is currently Volusia County urban low intensity, which allows up to 4 units per acre. It's currently developed as a single-family home, and the proposed Daytona Beach Shores land use is residential low intensity. It is consistent with Volusia County in that it allows up to 4 units per acre. The proposed use is going to remain that single-family home. This is just an aerial view of the property showing the single-family nature of it. The impact summary shown in the staff report shows that there is no change from this land use, from Volusia County land use to Daytona Beach Shores. This is just our future land use map. It shows the hatched, yellow and black hatched, that is consistent with the property to the north. So we're just moving south a little bit and carrying that same classification. All of our notice requirements have been met. The Planning and Zoning Board did recommend unanimous approval on August 14th, and staff is recommending approval of ordinance 2023-07 as presented.
Great. We're a motion to accept ordinance 2023-07.
I move we accept.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Chair, can you take a roll, please?
1 second, Madam Mayor. Does the landowner have an intention of converting it into a multi-unit property?
No, they wanted to be in the shores.
So we're just doing it to kind of bring them into the shores so they're out of, and it's, again, it doesn't change what they already had in the county.
Correct,
Which
yeah.
they could have done without us anyway.
Correct. It's just to assign our classifications to it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Lindauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Conomos,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Plius,
Yes.
Mayor May.
Yes, thank you. Okay, next we'll go on to ordinance 2023-08. Attorney Bryce, can you read that for us, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor, this is ordinance number 2023-08, an ordinance of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, Florida, relating to comprehensive planning, amending the City of Daytona Beach Shores Comprehensive Plan, amending Chapter 1, Future Land Use Element by amending Map L4 entitled Generalized Future Land Use Map 2030, assigning the residential low-intensity future land use designation to annex single-family residential property located at 3040 South Peninsula Drive, short parcel identification number 533402020130, providing for implementing actions, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for non-codification, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Attorney Bryce.
Good evening, Noelle Eaton, City Planner. Ordinance 2023-08 is just one property to the south of assigning the land use of residential low intensity to recently annexed property. Again, we're here because if we don't assign something in the shores, it continues to remain under Volusia County. The property is owned by Charles and Brandy Steffi. It's approximately 0.64 acres, and again is the Volusia County urban low intensity, which allows up to 4 units per acre. It exists as a single-family home, and the proposed future land use is residential low intensity, and allows up to 4 units per acre, and is proposed as a single-family home. This is a same aerial view. It's just, again, one property to the south of the last one. The impact summary shown in the staff analysis shows that there was no change. And here is our future land use map yet again. This is just one more to the south, showing that residential low intensity land use. The Planning and Zoning Board did unanimously recommend approval on August 14th. Our notice requirements have been met, and staff is recommending approval of ordinance 2023-08 is presented.
Thank you. There a motion to accept 2023-08?
I will so move.
Second?
Thank you. Any discussion? If not, Sherry, can you take a roll call on this, please?
Commissioner Economos?
Yes.
Commissioner Lindauer?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Planes?
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes, thank you. Okay, next we'll go on to the quasi judicial hearing. Sherry, do you have to swear?
I
Okay.
do. If you wish to speak during the hearing, please stand up and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Okay, so this would be ordinance 2023-09. Attorney Voice, can you read that for us, please?
Yes, ma'am. This is ordinance number 2023-09, an ordinance of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, Florida, assigning the RSF2 Urban Single Family Residential Detached District Zoning Classification to annexed single-family residential property generally located at 3038 South Peninsula Drive, short tax parcel ID 5334-02-02-0160, providing modification to the official zoning map, providing for implementing administrative actions, providing for non-codification, providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Before we go on, I'd like to ask anyone on the commission, did you have any conference or anything with any, no?
No.
All right, thank you. I'd like to ask the audience, this is open time, is there any comments concerning property 3038 South Peninsula? Okay, seeing none, can I have a motion to accept 2023-09?
So moved.
I'll second.
I can present.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll just give you the quick
Okay, all right, I'm so sorry.
This is just ordinance, Noel Eaton, City Planner, ordinance 23-09. It is very repetitive, so this is just to assign our zoning classifications to the property. This, we are proposing to assign the RSF2. It's a single-family district. Again, we're here, if we don't assign something, it remains under the county. It's the same property, Charles and Patricia Register. It was Volusia County R3, which allows for single-family and modular dwellings. The proposed zoning is RSF2. Again, allows single-family dwelling, and the proposed use is going to remain that single-family dwelling. This is the same aerial view. This is our zoning map. It's just a darker shade of yellow, consistent with the property directly to the north. All of our zoning requirements have been met in the analysis, and the staff report shows that the criteria of section 14-66 has also been met. The Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval on August 14th, and staff is recommending approval of ordinance 2023-09 as presented.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now,
Well, for the sake of the audience, the people who don't know what's going on with all of this, this is basically routine paperwork that needs to be done after the annexation. It's not a big secret or anything, right?
Correct. It's administrative to assign our zoning and land use. If we don't assign something here, it stays under Volusia County's regulations.
great, thank you. And did we already have a motion and a second? I jumped, all right, okay, thank you. If there's no further discussion, Sherry, can you take a vote on this, please?
Commissioner Lindauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Conover,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Clitus,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes, thank you. Okay, now we will go on to ordinance 2023-10. Attorney Boyce, can you read that one for us, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor. This is ordinance number 2023-10, an ordinance of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, Florida, assigning the RSF2 Urban Single Family Residential Detached District zoning classification to annex single-family residential property generally located at 3040 South Peninsula Drive, short tax parcel ID 5334-0202-0130, providing modification of the official zoning map, providing for implementing administrative actions, providing for non-codification, providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Okay, and thank you, Commissioner Economos, for giving me the words I was looking for. Did anyone have any ex parte contact communication with the Steffes? Okay.
No.
I wanted to report that I did. Mr. Steffi called me about 3 weeks ago. It wasn't anything per se about this, although he said he was very happy to be in the shores and he's wanted to do this for a while. His thing that I talked to him about was he felt like the traffic on Peninsula was going way above the speed limit and nothing was done about it. I did pass this on to Chief Fowler, so I just want to report that I did have that conversation with him. And now if you can present. Oh, I'm sorry, let me ask the audience. Anyone in the audience have anything they want to speak about on 3040 South Peninsula? Okay, seeing none, go ahead.
Good. Do we need to swear in, or do we cover it?
It's,
Okay.
you've already been sworn.
Ordinance 2020, Noel Eaton, City Planner. This is ordinance 2023-10. This is to assign the RSF2 zoning classification to 3040 South Peninsula Drive. The property is owned by Charles and Brandy Steffi. It's approximately 0.64 acres. It also was under Volusia County R3, which allows for single family or modular dwellings. The proposed zoning is the RSF2, which allows single-family dwelling, and it's again going to continue as that proposed single-family use. This is the same aerial view that you've seen. Here is our zoning map. Again, it's just the dark yellow, consistent with the property to the north. The analysis in your packets shows that the section 14-66 have been met, and our notice requirements have also been met. The Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval on August 14th, and staff is recommending approval as presented.
Thank you. Any questions? I'm sorry, a motion to accept?
I so move.
Thank you. I think we had our Vice Mayor and Commissioner Lindauer.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Right, if no discussion, Sherry, can you take a roll on this, please?
Vice Mayor Clitus,
Yes.
Commissioner Lindauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Conover,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes, thank you. And I think we welcome Mr. and Mrs. Register and Mr. and Mrs. Steffi, but if they're listening in today, I'd like to do that. Welcome to the Shores. We're glad to have you here.
Absolutely.
We will have a second reading on this as well.
Well, I'll welcome them. City Attorney comments. Do you have anything for us this evening, or Secretary Vest?
Nothing this evening, except thank you for your help earlier.
You're welcome. And City Manager Swartzlander, what do you have for us?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. A couple of short things. I'll start with some exciting things first. I have a couple of awards to hand out tonight to members of the Commission. I'd like to congratulate Commissioner Mel Lindauer and Mayor Nancy Miller for achieving the Gold Certificate of Excellence from the Florida League of Cities. So I'd like to go ahead and oh, sorry. Yep.
I think Nancy. Kurt, do you want to stay up here and take a photo?
Oh, yeah, sure.
And City Manager, would you like to explain how these awards are, or would you like me to do that? Or give it out?
If you can explain it, you probably know it better than I do.
Okay. So they developed this certification program just last year, and you needed to sign up for it. And what happens is there's several different categories that you can gain points for, and most of them are doing the online classes, attending meetings, and some were taking surveys. I think that was on one of them too. So if you earned 30 points within this past calendar year, you got the gold, which Mel and I both got. If you got 20 points, then you got the silver, and if you're in 10 points, it was the bronze. So very, very happy to do that. I'm very involved with a Florida League of Cities, and Mel is as well. So it was a great opportunity. They're always great classes, and we learn a lot from them. So thank you, City Manager, for recognizing us.
Thank you, and you just said you do a lot with the League of Cities, and if you haven't seen the Facebook post or anything, I'm proud to announce that our mayor is going to be, is actually the president-elect of the Florida League of Mayors, and next August, is it? You will be becoming president of the Florida League of Mayors. First, Volusia will be the first president from Volusia County. It's usually from like Miami and Orlando, those kind of things. So I'm very proud to say that we're being well represented in the mayoral group.
I'm very excited about this because the Florida League of Cities is all about advocacy, working with our legislation, going up to Tallahassee, calling our legislature, our delegation, and in this role, always advocacy is, right at my heart, and I'm hoping in that role we can put Volusia County back on the map again, just like we have down in Miami-Dade, in Tampa. So thank you very much. I was quite honored to receive this, quite surprised, but quite honored, but thank you very much. Thank you, City Manager.
Thank you. A couple other quick things. I have an ask I'd like to ask of the commission. Lieutenant Doug Stewart, who served the city from February of 1976 to February 2004, recently passed away, and his family and friends are having a celebration of life service at our community center tomorrow night at 6. And we do not normally waive any fees for the community center, but I'd like to ask for his service to our community if the commission would be willing to waive the fee for that rental.
Need a vote or just consensus?
I'd like to speak first on that. I understand he was with us for 28 years. I can only think of the numerous times that he was not able to be at family functions, that he missed things like that. And anyone that gave 28 years of their life to Daytona Beach Shores, I would like to be able to do this in a little way to pay back their family in appreciation for everything they did for us. So I am wholeheartedly supporting this. This is the least that we can do for the family. But to answer your question, Commissioner, do we just need a consensus, Becky, or a vote?
I take a vote.
Okay, all right. So,
Okay, need a motion?
yes,
I move we approve.
Second it.
thank you. All right, any further discussion? Okay, if not, Sherry, can you take a vote, please?
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner O'Brien?
Yes.
Commissioner Lindauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Conlon?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Paladis?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, thank you.
And then two other things, Madam Mayor. You have before you tonight kind of an update on where we're at on the non-conforming signs. Noel, the city planner, provided this.
Thank you,
and we'll
Noel, for doing
continue
this.
until we have no more non-conforming signs. So we'll keep working on those. Moving on to some updates on the Peck Park I just drew a blank on what we call these things.
Reconstruction?
Well, no, not the reconstruction, the walkway.
Crosswalk?
The crosswalk, that's the word I'm looking for.
Crosswalk, okay.
Takes a commission.
Yes. So the crosswalk, they are having a hard time getting the equipment for the actual lighting. Everything's ready to go except the equipment itself. They're hoping to have it mid-September. They went gangbusters, got everything set up. And then they will complete that as soon as they get that equipment and get it installed, and they'll do the marking of the lines and everything at that point. But just an update on that, and the,
Kurt, what about the actual opening of that park?
I don't have an answer for that. It was supposed to be originally July, like beginning of July. We had all those bad rains every day, and they had further washout, and they haven't, last I knew, they have not been able to confirm that the restroom building is safe, that it won't go in. So they were having to make other plans from what they originally had planned. Like I said, they wanted to open it around July 4th, but were unable to. So they are working on it, but they had to do a U-turn and change.
It'll be a crosswalk to nowhere, right?
Short term, it will be a crosswalk to nowhere, yes. Hopefully it'll everything will fall together in a nice, timely manner there. So we also have Broad Avenue, Publix, the Belmead, the crosswalk south of Oceans West Boulevard, and the one at Florida Shores Boulevard. The designs on those, because they're going to light all of those, are expected to be completed in their fiscal year 24, which is July of 23, sometime to June of 24, with construction beginning the following fiscal year. So hopefully by June of 2025, all of those that I listed will be lit. Sea Spray is still on their list, but we don't have a timeline on that one yet, but they have it. It's still on their list. It hasn't fallen off. And that's it.
Okay, on the Sea Spray one, that's one of the ones that I've been talking to Jessica Fentress about, and that really is a domino effect, because right now that crosswalk that leads from Sea Spray is completely torn down. The bad thing is we have 2 parking spaces there, 2 parking lots, I would think, or 2 parks that have parking. I think that's between the 2 of them over 100 spots. I mean, it's quite a few spots, and that's what they're trying to do, is off-beach parking. That's what they want to get to. But again, they need that crosswalk to walk to get to the park. So that's all being taken into consideration. So I doubt if they'll do anything with Sea Spray until everything else gets fixed. Kurt, can you go over one more time, and I can't remember if you and the chief and I went one more time to look at the beach since the last meeting, but can you just talk about how pleased we are with all the construction we're seeing, and some look like they're almost complete, if not complete?
Yes, the last time we were out there, the amount of work happening is amazing. I can only imagine the total dollars that are being spent out there, but there's a lot of progress. As we've said at other meetings, there are still a handful that have done nothing, and those folks are being issued notice of violations on those properties that have done nothing. We still have some work to do, and we're waiting on seawalls to be repaired for, we approved the contract for the design of our walkovers. We're waiting on work before we can do anything to those as well. So very pleased with what I'm seeing. Post-hurricane, my estimate was 2 to 3 years for what I'll call total recovery, if we ever totally recover. But I'm pleased that we're just short of a year to see everything that has happened in a short amount of time, and pleased with the things the state has done. So I don't know if you have the latest numbers, Madam Mayor, on the grant?
Yes, okay, if I can be on my soapbox one more time. So I did talk to the supervisor again from the hurricane relief, and we have someone in the audience that's an expert on that. But I think I've told you before that previously it was $50 million that was put into that fund. That has been increased to $100 million. I know for a fact there is 3 condos in the Shores, and I'm sure there's more that got their money. 2 of them got the full $300,000. What that takes is having a DEP permit, also a receipts to prove that that's how much you spent. So I talked to a supervisor today. Unfortunately, out of that $100 million, there is still $85 million left in there. I don't know what else we can do, so I asked the follow-up question. I didn't ask the third one, but I'll call him tomorrow. Out of that 15 million that was paid out, now remember that's for the whole state, and you know what damage they had on the West Coast. They were very, very bad too. Out of 15 million, 10.8 million has been paid just in Volusia County. Isn't that great news? Yes, that is awesome. So I know I've been advocating, telling as many people as I can. I will continue to do that. I want that money to stay in Volusia County until everybody that is eligible for it gets paid. One of the things that I'm working on now with Tom League, Chase, is since there is 85 million still left, would the legislation be able to maybe in the session that comes up include some of the small or some of the commercial businesses? I say small, that's who it would help the most. So we have several motels that would benefit by them. So our ask is for them to be included. And the second thing right now, non-homesteaded properties were not included. So for any of the single family homes that we had, you had to be homesteaded to be eligible for that. I wouldn't want to take away from some of the people that have got it in the first, but since we have 85 million left, let's spend that, let's help those. So that's the next thing that I'm going to be talking about. Thank you. Any other questions for our city manager? Okay, if not, we'll go on to council comments. If I can, I'll start again. We are gonna have one more commission meeting before I have coffee with the mayor, but I just want advance notice. Our speaker on September 13th would be Sheriff Mike Chitwood. Thank you, Chief Fowler, for arranging that. So, Sheriff Fowler, Sheriff Chitwood. Wow, am I promoting you or demoting you? One of the two. Will be here that day, and what he'll be talking about, I hope, is I have had a lot of you that have asked me questions. Why is there not as many patrols on the beach as there used to be? So let's ask the sheriff that question. But he is just so delightful to speak with. He's very open, so if you have any questions, so please tell your friends on that date, on the 13th. I'm actually inviting Ponce Inlet to that meeting too, because they have the same concerns as we do. The next thing is that we're having a concert on this Friday, the 25th. Nancy, do you want to give us some details on that? Food trucks.
Food trucks, yeah. We'll be starting at 4:30 and then 5 o'clock. A Needed Drink is the band, and it'll be a fun night. Weather looks great, and I'm not going to jinx it.
12 food trucks, correct?
Correct.
Great, great. So everybody come out and have a great time at that. And then I want to read one other statement here. On September 16th, 2023, Volusia County and cities will participate in the Ocean Conservancy 38th International Coastal Cleanup. They're calling it ICC. Residents are encouraged to participate in this event. If you are interested in volunteering, please contact our Community Service Director, Stuart Cruz. He will provide you with the relevant information, or you can visit the Volusia County International Coastal Cleanup event on the Bright website to sign up to a location near you. Thank you very much for considering this. And I have nothing else right now. Vice Mayor, what do you have for us?
I have nothing to report. I'll go to the TPO meeting tomorrow, so I'll gather whatever information I can and report back at the next meeting.
Great, and we appreciate you representing us there. Commissioner Economist?
No comments.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Lindauer?
Yes, you mentioned the permit and the $350,000 for...
300.
Well, when I talked to a state official at the Florida League of Cities conference, he told me that it was either 300 or 350,000 with the permit and a receipt, but he said they were raising that to 500,000, and that seemed to be old news to some people. But does anyone know anything about that, or can they confirm that?
Well, I talked to that supervisor yesterday and asked him if there was anything else new, and he said no, it's still 300,000. It's still January 1st, 2024. Now, who was that person that you had talked to?
It was from the Department of Environmental Protection.
Okay. Do you have a name?
I have his card. I gave it to Nancy. I gave her the information that I got from him,
We'll
yes.
get with them. I'm thinking the person that, I talked to is the one that issues the checks. So I'm thinking that's pretty good information, but that'd be wonderful if it was that. Okay.
Yeah, I heard another number, but I'm not gonna mention it.
Okay. So again, we don't want you to, we will tell you if we hear any different. I will definitely get back to him tomorrow and verify that for sure. Okay, thank you. All right, I don't have any audience comments that anyone signed up for, but is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak at all? I'd love to hear from you. Okay, if not, any items recommended for the next agenda? We happen to know we're gonna have a pretty packed agenda, but no additional items from right here.
Not today, but that is our millage rate and budget agenda.
Okay. All right, if there's nothing else, thank you very much for coming. Meeting is adjourned.